Cubs once again embarrassed on national television. I have a lot to say. Hashtag, you have to see it.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Safe to say Sam did a thumbs down right there. Thank you for being a part of the show and making us your first listen today. And the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day, like the video, and comment anything below. Today's episode is presented by our great partners at PrizePicks. The easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Cubs lose 2 out of 3 to the Mets over the weekend. 11-1 loss, 8-1 win, 5-2 loss. The series loss follows a series win earlier in the week, their first 3-game series win in over a month. Could have turned that into more success, Sam, but the Cubs can't get on any type of a roll right now.
Everybody can pause their typing if you're commenting live, if you're watching while you're on the road or something on Monday. Just do me a favor and lock in with me for about 2 to 3 minutes. Then I'll pass it to Matt and I'll go back in my apathetic phase. Sunday night, prime time. A beautiful night for baseball, a perfect summer night. You're honoring one of the greatest players in the history of the organization, and you come out and do absolutely nothing once again. You strike out 14 times. At least half of them were looking. No approach, no juice, no energy. Same thing over and over again. And a lot of people comment, and I'm going to go macro now. Sam, what'd you think? What'd you think would be different, Sam? Why'd you think this was going to be a good team? Forgive me. If I thought a $230 million team, $50 million more than anybody in their division. They have a $50 million higher payroll than the Cardinals, who's second in their division, with a brand new shiny manager that we're sold, that was the best guy in the league. I helped sell you it. Forgive me if I thought they could win 87 games. I'm sorry. Forgive me. This is pathetic. This fan base is the best fan base in the league. It was on display tonight. They got excited at any snippet of a chance to be excited, and you're disappointing them. They should be ashamed of themselves. These fans deserve better. And I want to echo something that Bryce said on our rant thing from Thursday. My favorite thing to do in the world, I could be with best friends. I could be on vacations, girlfriends, family, whatever it is. My favorite thing to do in my 30 years of life is to sit down on a summer evening and watch my favorite baseball team play. They're always there. Whether they're good or bad, they're always there for you. This year, it has changed. It is work watching this team play. And you and I, Matt, are so blessed. We really are. We have such a show with this great community. And I thought this summer, this should be one of the best summers of our lives, being able to talk about this team every day and do this show. And I am only watching this team for work purposes only. West Coast trip in San Francisco, I'm dreading it. I'm dreading watching this team play. It stinks. They're bad. They're boring. It needs to change, because if it doesn't change soon, and I'll close with this and pass it right back to you. If this team, listen very carefully what I'm saying. I've never said this publicly before. And if you've been watching our 2-year anniversary of having the shows coming up, if you've been watching, I've defended this guy over and over again. If this team misses the playoffs in this National League, I watch the Padres and the Cardinals and the Diamondbacks. They're all mediocre. If this $230 million team can't find a way to sneak in the postseason, don't let the door hit you on the way out, Jed. It's time. There you are, Matt. There you are. Anything else you got to add?
Wow. Phenomenal stuff right there. It really is a I think this might earn a title change after the live, Sam. They really are an embarrassment.
Boring.
They're an atrocity.
I have more excitement killing cicadas this summer than watching this team play.
And the good news with the cicadas, we're only about 7 to 10 days away from them being out. With this Cubs ball club, we might have 4 more months of this.
It's only June, right, Dansby?
There's light at the end of the tunnel, at least with the insects. So the Cubs are playing like insects. I want to swat them away. Let me give you the numbers to what Sam is talking about. Is he continues to be the best at Cubs content out there. We said 6-3 on the homestand. They went 4-5. We said, hey, make sure you play over 500, maybe even do a clip bordering on, between 500, 2 out of 3 over this so-called easy stretch. Remember that? The 25-game stretch against all losing teams, even though the Cubs are losers as well. Well, with 4 games remaining in that stretch, the Cubs are 9-12. They have gone from 17-9 to 37-41. Let me give you your weekly update. That's a 20-32 record that puts them third worst in all of baseball since April 27th. Only the A's and the White Sox are worse. That's right. You could chalk it up like this. The Cubs have been one of the worst teams in baseball for now almost 2 months straight. Whether there's a glimpse of positivity, momentum, or excitement, like earlier this week, you can make a case for, it always fizzles so quickly. And quite frankly, all season they have fizzled when it matters. And shoot, it even happened at times when they started off well. Nothing good happens seemingly simultaneously. And it makes you question now some of the things off the field, like you say. It's too bad that we might have plenty of time to talk about those types of things because there doesn't seem to be any redeeming qualities on the ball field.
They have one redeeming quality. The rest of the league's awful.
Right. Well, that's not about them.
I know, but that's the only reason we have any life.
Like a smear of life. Yeah.
82 wins might get you 82 wins might get you to the playoffs, and this $230 million payroll team may not even get to 78.
But and by the way, you're cutting them short 3 M's. $233 million for a team that might win 82 games. They might not. And then they might play the Brewers and just get knocked out. It's too bad because there doesn't seem to be a thoughtfulness to this operation right now. See, what happens is when the poor play happens on the field, especially with this franchise, it raises questions about the off-field goings-on. And that's something that I am keeping a closer eye on. And what I once thought was maybe more traveling and conspiracy, Sam, I am beginning to wonder if it's actually more reality.
I had more excitement today paying my AT&T bill than I did watching the Sunday night game. This team, let me tell you something. I had multiple people around the country watching on ESPN today because it was on ESPN text me, how do you do this every day? This is such a boring team. Forget what the record is.
More common questions, yeah.
It is so boring. What outside of the Morel meaningless 2-run homer tonight?
Meaningless.
What was exciting? That there were a couple of birds near shortstop in the second inning? I've never seen a team this void of juice, excitement, energy. They play for the Chicago bleeping Cubs, man.
Generational franchise.
they
One of the
have
tops in the planet.
41,000 people there. Seiya Suzuki could have the city in the palm of his hands.
Yeah.
And what does he do? Strike one, strike two, hooah, hooah. I mean, does anybody want it? And people could say, oh, they're not good enough, Sam. It's just not a talent thing. But they were last year. How did they regress? How is Dansby Swanson this awful? Nico Horner looks like he couldn't hit a home run if he swung and then went to the place where the ball landed and then swung again.
Like fungo golf.
Yeah. I mean, what happened? What's wrong with these guys?
Well, I think that's what we're going to discuss for Monday's show, because we'll preview this out again.
Wisdom came up on the pinch hit, and he just Horner took a 3-2 pitch that was literally on a tee. Are we?
Well,
just
not
guessing?
literally, but
yeah, you know what I mean. It's not English time. Bush 2-1, nobody out.
If the ball was on a tee, would they actually swing?
I don't understand. Assad was awful tonight.
He's really hurt the team. We're going to get into that next segment. He doesn't pitch long enough. Yeah, well, I'm going to.
The Mets had a great approach against Assad. They laid off borderline pitches. They got pitches middle. Assad was lucky not to give up 7-8 runs tonight.
Totally.
I mean, they crushed him all over the diamond. Friday, Imanaga. I was teaching a volleyball class in Lake Zurich, and I saw one of the balls fly in from Wrigley Field onto the sand. And then Saturday, Tyone comes out, dominates. And you're like, whoa, this team really, maybe they got some momentum. I was excited. I was excited.
Maybe they have something.
I was excited tonight. And a lot of people get on me for this. And you did about a month ago, maybe a month and a half, but I think you've come around. There is an organizational, what's the word, tentativeness or passiveness with this team. Even Carter Hawkins yesterday.
Complacency.
Carter Hawkins yesterday. If I were listening to that interview with Marquis, I would have thought the Cubs were 10 games over 500. He's joking around.
He's a robot.
He's laughing. The team's it's a dumpster fire. What are you so happy about? Council.
Yeah, no kidding.
They're
arrogant. They're arrogant.
Council on their private plane when they fly across the country tonight. Somebody needs to flip a table and show some sort of anything. When Suzuki gets a call third tomorrow at the left-handed batter's box in San Francisco, when they honor the late great Willie Mays, that game probably will be delayed. By the way, there's going to be tons of ceremonies for that.
Delayed to what? 9:07 Central.
Yeah, no, it could be a late night for us, but we'll talk about that. We won't be on there.
It won't be. Yeah,
it won't be. Yeah. This team needs juice and a spark. It's so tense. It's so day to day. I mean, they made Luis Severino look like a reincarnation of Bob Gibson, Nolan Ryan,
and
Tom
Roger
Seaver.
Clemens.
It was absurd. He struck out 6 guys per 9 coming into this game. He had 10 in 6 innings.
Don't you think that? And Sam walks off the show. I do think when I see things like that with Carter Hawkins, the word arrogance does start to come to mind, because what has this crew really done, Sam? I'm talking about arrogance now. When I see Carter in the booth, when I see even Council, dude, it strikes me as arrogance. And for what? What have y'all done? In fact, you've gotten worse and way worse. Dude, almost 2 months this week. It's the White Sox, the A's, and the Chicago Cubs. That's the 3 worst teams in baseball. There's no time to be happy. There's no time to joke. They're going to go cross country to the Giants and face pitchers that are spit out of the 3D printer and get smoked. That's what's going to happen. And Imanaga got smoked on Friday. That's a big concern. We're going to talk about that next. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But sometimes I want the Cubs to stop. And I want them to play better. And quite frankly, I need all the Chicago teams to play better. This city right now is a trash can of athletic franchises. Okay. As the playoffs wind down, right? The NBA Finals has a champion. NHL playoffs, amazingly, going to Game 7. But we are going to get fewer games coming up. We're going to get down to exclusively baseball. And so maybe for you, the sports aren't sportsing like we want them to.
Copa America, Euros.
But FanDuel, I'm excited for the Olympics. FanDuel lets you keep the sports going whenever you want. All you have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime you're in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus every single day. That's right. There's something daily all summer long. Head over to FanDuel.com/lockedon and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
Today's episode is also brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app. It's the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. Pick more or less on 2 or more player stats and then watch the winnings roll in. Piece of advice, if you could find in Prize Picks a Nico Horner prop with anything above a single, take less every day until late September. Baseball season has been underway. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your Prize Picks entries. Whether it's strikeouts, Cubs had 14 of those today, RBIs or first inning runs. Take your pick of more or less and then add them to your Prize Picks entry. Prize Picks is really simple to play with your entries taking less than 60 seconds to submit, turning $10 into $1,000 with just a few taps of your screen. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's a first deposit match up to $100 by using code LOCKEDONMLB. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app.
The Cubs play the Giants at 8:45 p.m. Central Monday, and you can hear every pitch of the Cubs hometown broadcast on SiriusXM by searching Cubs on the SXM app. And we're not going to preview Cubs Giants this episode. We're actually going to do that for your ride home or your afternoon and evening errands, whatever you're up to on Monday itself. We'll put out our next episode. We're going to shoot to publish that 3:30 Central. Game coverage will return following Cubs Giants late Tuesday night.
Matt, let me say one thing before we get into starting pitchers. First of all, I just want to repeat because I know no podcast tomorrow after Cubs Giants. We're going to have something before Cubs Giants, and then we'll be back Tuesday after the Cubs Giants. Just want to say one thing before we get to the starting pitching report.
Right.
Mark Leiter Jr. goes to the IL today after he's been struggling quite a while. You said to me off the air, I hope you don't mind me mentioning this, that there's a good chance at the end of the year we might hear about like an off-season surgery or something for a Dansby or Nico with the way things are going. If that's the case, it would be these guys, especially Nico, because everyone keeps saying Nico's playing hurt, and his numbers say then stop playing him. Okay, I want to read you.
Yeah, it's weird.
237, 326, 324. What's the difference between 2024 Nico Horner and Nick Madrigal? Give us a call, 312. Okay? If he's not healthy, flip Bush over to second, Bellinger to first, PCA center. It ain't that hard. Don't use it as an excuse after the fact, please. Thank you. Go ahead with your proceeding.
Well, he has a small break in his hand. I don't really even know what we should expect.
He wasn't exactly hitting like Barry Larkin before it.
No. Shota Imanaga was shelled on Friday. 3 innings, 11 hits, 10 runs, 3 home runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. And Imanaga got shelled too easily, Sam. The Mets had a plan to attack the fastball, and they did that really well. And then manager Carlos Mendoza, after the game, said exactly that their fastball, they were attacking. They knew that entering the game. And the other big concern with the lefty's performance on Friday for me is that from Jump Street, from the first pitch to his last pitch, the fastball velo was also down between 1 and 2 miles per hour, which for a major leaguer, for that pitch, fastball is a major major development, and you can see that in the line score. 10 runs on 11 hits, not what I expected, and I am concerned about him.
Yeah, I was tracking the game on my phone. First at bat, I saw Lindor hit a pitch letter high into the corner, and I said, "This might be it." Because that's the pitch that he's supposed to get, guys. Same with the pitch that he threw to Yelich in Milwaukee. When that pitch is getting hit, he has no success. Probably a perfect storm of the Mets being red hot, especially against left-handed pitching, seeing him a second time, his command being off, and his velocity being off. You put all that together, was a disaster. He needs to do a better job of keeping the team relevant in those games. This is the second one that he's had. So hopefully it's off the table, but we'll find out. San Francisco is also a team that really swings it much better against lefties than righties, but it's a bigger park. We'll see. I think it's hard to make any conclusions until we see his next start. Concerning for sure, but just so many other things on my mind.
Yeah.
And he's been such a positive, overall. Like when I go back to Friday's game, I go back to the fact that the Cubs haven't hit a left-handed pitching against a starter.
Long again?
It's been 59 innings. 55 and a third. They've scored 5 runs. That's less than a run every 9 against lefty starters.
Well, it's almost 7 game worth.
Yeah, so it is definitely on my mind, but in the back of it with everything else that's going on. But for sure.
Jameson Taillon was great. 10 strikeouts, no walks, 1 run, 6 hits, 7 innings. Following the nice outing, both Taillon and Tomas Nido both discussed their pregame plan. That was a pleasant surprise, especially after the last couple, Sam, namely against the White Sox. Taillon really just gave up loads and loads of contact, and he was getting a lot of whiffs.
Yeah, a lot of whiffs out of nowhere. Amazing job from him. Credit to him. Didn't see it coming. Anything else?
Yes, because here's what I'm trying to get to.
Yep.
Whatever you think about the Cubs starting pitching, which I praised not once but twice, maybe 3 times last week, it is possibly starting to fade. And the Cubs did not take advantage of this past stretch in which the starting pitching did thrive. It did. They had an ERA under 3 this last month. They lose and lose and lose. And Javier Assad, Sam, has hurt the Cubs more often than not. Here's some stats on him. So he exited after 4 2/3 Sunday. You want to talk about a domino effect with the bullpen, which we know is also chaos and porous down there.
They used some of their best guys today. They won't be able to pitch tomorrow.
Some of their best guys, yeah. Well, that's a problem because 8 of Assad's 16 starts this year have gone less than 5 innings, and 13 of 16 have gone less than 6. Really, it's that first one, 50%. He doesn't even get to 5 innings. 5 innings or less. That's a major problem, no?
Matt, there's been a lot of
bad. Can't even get into the 6th?
Matt, there's been a lot of bad news on this show today. Do you want to hear some good news?
Sure.
Let's go to break.
Coming up next, Cody Bellinger had a quote-unquote nice series. Reason why I'm bringing him up is because as we talk about the Cubs' fate, maybe find out. Today's episode is brought to you by Supply House. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trade, supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining supplyhouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at supplyhouse.com and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks. That's supplyhouse.com for Supply House today. Well, this is the segment in which we preview not only Monday's episode and really our plans for the week, but the first time, well, I guess we've had a couple first on this show. Sam had a Jed Hoyer thread earlier in the episode. Press the rewind button on that.
Please don't use the word threat. It makes me sound aggressive. I just meant, I'm not the one in charge.
Yeah, okay. And here's this, right?
Matt Shaw, 2 homers today.
That's great. I put Cody Bellinger's name in there with a wondering emoji because, Sam, Bellinger would likely be the biggest name on the trade market if the Cubs choose to go that path.
That'd be great. Nobody's taken on that contract.
That's true. He has some uniqueness to that with the player options. But this is all to say that, and maybe we explore this more for Monday's pregame episode. Again, game coverage will return following Cubs-Giants on Tuesday night.
Yeah, maybe the Yankees.
But would the Cubs actually sell, Sam? Are we beginning to entertain
because
that possibility?
It's not just about the fact that they're bad. To be a seller, you have to have selling things to sell. Like, for example, the Rockies.
Players that you can sell.
Well, and you have to have a need. The Cubs already have a surplus of guys in the minor league system that don't have space to play.
Supposedly.
They're not going to get more minor leaguers. The fan base won't accept that. Like the Rockies, for example, take a guy like Ryan McMahon. If they want to sell a guy like that, people will be lining up for his services. You can rebuild your system. The Cubs guys, Bellinger, Suzuki, Happ, Horner, Swanson, Morel. Let's just go over them quickly, okay?
Yeah, okay, yeah. Please.
Nobody's taken on Swanson's contract. You'd be selling him for pennies on the dollar.
Nope.
Horner's probably the best trade asset because his contract's pretty team-friendly, but would you want to trade him at his absolute lowest value? No. Say a Suzuki has a no trade. Nobody wants to pay him $40 million over the next 2 years. Ian Happ has a no trade. Nobody wants to pay him $20+ million over the next whatever year or two that it is. Bellinger's contract's bad. The only defense of selling would it be just to do some salary dumping so you could get a guy like Owen Casey up here or be more flexible next year. That's the biggest problem with this team. This is the team. Next year, there's a good chance we know who the left fielder is going to be, the center fielder, the right fielder, the first baseman, the second baseman. The only thing's up for grabs as we speak for next year is going to be catcher and third base.
Right.
You're not going to trade Christopher Morel because if you were, you would have traded him at his highest value in the offseason. They're not going to do that now. There's nobody to trade.
So they're stuck.
So they would just be selling just to say they're selling. So they're stuck. They're stuck as can be. They're stuck in the middle of
as Velcro, you might say.
Mediocrity, hopelessness. They need to get this figured out.
We're going to talk about that more and preview Cubs-Giants. That's going to publish at 3:30 Central on Monday for your ride home, for your afternoon errands, evening errands, whatever you're up to. And game coverage will return Tuesday night, or perhaps we press record early Wednesday morning, West Coast baseball. Thank you so much for checking out this edition of Locked On Cubs. You give us 20 to 30 minutes. We'll give you all things Cubs with a laugh or two along the way. Be sure to hit subscribe on YouTube, smash the like button for the algorithm, and leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts. And if you want more Matt and Sam, consider supporting us by subscribing to our Unlocked podcast. The link to subscribe is in this episode description. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.